Brooklyn's faithful fans roar in salute and hope as the Dodgers take the field. Carl Furillo, who had hit a homer for the Dodgers' final run in the 1953 series against the Yankees, does it again.
Well, you know, you're in Brooklyn, you grow up a Dodger fan, and my heart was broken when the Dodgers moved out of Brooklyn to Los Angeles. So I didn't even have a life after that. I hated it, especially without baseball, because also growing up in Brooklyn, you grow up to hate the Yankees because they always beat us. Up until 1955 when we got our revenge, you know? And Johnny Padres was the pitcher. I think he won 3 games in that World Series. Oh yeah, it was at the World Series against the Yankees in 1956 maybe 54. I've been to a couple of World Series games where I was able to get tickets. And most rewarding thing of my life to go to a Dodger game, the Assembly. Series. My grandfather was elected in 1918 and served only 2 years, 2 one-year terms. So he was the Lentol who was here the least. My grandfather was a barber. He came over here from Italy, and my grandfather spent his youth working in the barber shop, cleaning spittoons. Anybody hear of spittoons anymore?
What's that?
We used to spit after you chew tobacco or smoke cigars or pipe.
Wow.
They'd have spittoons that were filthy dirty that he'd have to clean up and sweep the floor and clean up all the hair. And eventually, when he was young, they'd teach him how to cut hair, and he became a barber. And it was pretty obvious that he was going to become something because he organized all the barbers like in the labor union. So my dad was a lawyer. He wasn't sure that he was going to go into politics, but in 1940, my grandfather wanted him to run for the Senate. The Assembly seat my father thought was a safer choice because that was the election, the Dewey-Truman election. And my father thought that Dewey was going to kill him in the election and there would be a backlash. And he decided that he'd be safer running for the Assembly than the Senate. And of course he won hands down. I ran for office in 1972. And that was the year that my father became a judge. So he was in the Senate from 62 to 72. The first year that I ran, it was also a year like the first year my father ran, because that was the year that Nixon ran for president against McGovern. And McGovern had no chance. We all knew that. And we all knew that general elections were going to be tough. But nobody ever dreamed that I would have a close general election running that year. And can you believe that the margin of victory for me in 1972 was 400 votes? Wow. Out of about 25,000 that were cast. 400 vote difference. I looked a little bit like Elvis. I had sideburns, I had long brown hair, and I looked younger than Scoofus when I first came here, okay? And everybody, when I came here, said, "Who do you work for?" They never believed that I was an assemblyman. Even though I was 29 when I was elected, I looked like I was about 18 tops. I even had trouble getting into the budget briefing. Governor Rockefeller was the governor, and in those days we went to the Red Room in the Capitol for the budget briefing. And I tried to get in. The sergeant at arms put his big paw out and stopped me. "Hey, who are you, kid?" And we had no credentials in those days. We didn't have anything that showed that we were an assemblyman. We had no cards, no nothing. So I gave him, I think I had a business card. Anybody could have that. And then somebody had to come over and say, "No, he's really an assemblyman. Please let him in." In 45 years, you could imagine I've chaired some pretty important committees. So, you know, especially in labor and government employees, where we were able to make improvements to the Taylor Law. I was the one who presided over the passage of the Sunshine Law, okay, which is now applicable in every aspect of New York State, where you can't let the press out and people have a right to come in and see everything that's a public meeting. He also was able to enact or get enacted the law that gave a pension to paraprofessionals in the schools because they were doing such a great job and they had no pension. So I passed 55-25 for the teachers union, which was a big pension improvement at the time. I became chairman of codes, and I immediately went to work. But I'll just give you a few accomplishments that I think are important. Not only did I debate, now Jeff Aubrey was the sponsor and the prime mover of the Rockefeller drug law reform. Everybody knows that. But nobody knows that he was sick at the time it came up for debate. So Assemblyman Lentol had to debate the bill on the floor for 4 hours, okay? Rockefeller. I don't think I've ever had a warmer feeling than I've had this year about my job. But I gotta tell you that unlike any other year that I've been here, you know, I usually say I'm very friendly, I say hello to everybody, but I find this year, when I'm walking down the halls and I see people in the doorways or walking to the Capitol, they say, hello, Mr. Lentol, and they hug me, or they say, hello, thank you for what you're doing for my kids. And I can't tell you how, you know, it really makes me feel good.
Friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I travel each and every highway, and more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I did all that I could do. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall, and did it my way. For what is a man? What kind